Good evening, Plain Places, virtual here in the A2A Comanche, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, continuing our Comanche Basics series with Part 3. Part 1, we covered basic VFR operations on an easy cross-country flight from Pensacola to Dauphin Island. Part 2, we looked specifically at slow flight, power off stalls, and normal landings. That brought us from Dauphin Island over to Mobile International, otherwise known as Mobile Downtown, otherwise known as Brookley Field, where we're starting off our flight today. So today we're going to go into performance takeoffs and landings, specifically soft field and short field operations. We're going to start with short field demonstrations here at Brookley, and then we're going to move south to a grass strip called Roy Ray, 2,000 feet long, about halfway between here and Dauphin Island, for some soft field practice. So normal Comanche landings are flaps 0 with the laminar flow wing, roll to a rotation speed around 80 miles an hour at gross weight, and fly it off. One aspect of the laminar flow wing, which provides very low drag and cruise, is it also does not produce as much lift when stalled. What that means is in a typical general aviation light plane, short field, soft field techniques are often pretty similar in that you start with a lot of back elevator from the beginning to break ground as soon as possible, reducing friction on the wheels, getting into ground effect, accelerate to your best angle speed, and climb out. In the Comanche, for short field operations versus soft field operations, the book recommendation is not to apply elevator back pressure until you're very close to flying speed. Otherwise, you'll actually potentially prolong the takeoff roll because the Comanche wing mostly produces drag and not a lot of lift until it's near flying speed. Conversely, for soft field, it is a pretty standard soft field technique of elevator full aft. And what we'll do is we'll talk more about the soft field nuances on our transition flight after we do our short field takeoffs and landings. So we've already fired up, run through our after start, pre-taxi, and run up checklists here. So we're going to go ahead and taxi out to runway 14 at International. So we're going to get that parking brake off. We're going to get our landing lights on. That signals ground crew that we're about to roll and that they know to get out of our way. Winds are calm. Plan here is we're going to depart runway 14 with a short field takeoff with maximum performance climb to 1,000 feet. And then we're actually going to turn into the downwind for runway 36 here at Mobile. For the first one, I'm going to demonstrate another aspect as you get into high-performance airplanes with larger gross weight or useful loads. We're going to do the first one using book speeds, which are based on gross weight. So that's 3,200 pounds of the Comanche. Right now, if you look at the tablet over here with just one person and full fuel, we're actually only at 2,250 pounds. And that's going to make a big difference if we use that gross weight short field speed of 82 miles an hour, slowing to right at 80 on the fence. If the sim does a good job, which we're going to see, is we're actually going to still get a decent amount of float as we come in to that flare. So we're going to use the book speed, gross weight speed for the first one, and then we're going to come back around and demonstrate doing the same thing again with a landing weight adjusted VREF speed for final. And we're going to see in the sim, can we basically how significant of a difference is that? Once we get up here to our hold short line or for runway 14, I'll actually pull up the chart so we'll have a bit of a reference for that. And here you can see these weird mismatches a little bit between real world airports and what flight flight simulator thinks their taxiway layout should be. Probably didn't help that this airport has gone through a lot of construction in the last few years. We'll just go ahead and hold short here on this 1-4 hold short line. All right, so again, if we pull up the fuel payload in the Comanche tablet, we're sitting right now here at 2,252 pounds. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Comanche 250. This is from some old International Comanche Society and other documents. Oh, and I lost the sim. Great. All right. Well, as we restart the sim, we can talk about this chart. All right, we're back from accidentally closing Flight Sim. So again, our actual current weight is about 2,250 pounds. This is the PA-24 weight adjusted stall chart. So what we want to find here is 2,250. So just for reference, again, 0 flaps. We go from a stall speed of 88 miles an hour to about 79. And more important, for our soft and short field landings, we go from a 1.3 VSO, or flaps and landing, basically full flaps, of 82 miles an hour, all the way down to 73, so almost 10 miles an hour change. So again, we're going to do one short field landing using 82 as our reference, even though we're quite a bit lighter, and just see how that works out. And then we're going to do after our stop and go, or stop and taxi back, depending on how much runway is remaining. We're going to do the same thing, but using our VREF of 73 full flaps short final instead. And again, we should see a fairly dramatic difference in float as well as total landing distance. So let's get this out of the way. Let's get our tablet out of the way. Let's take off our before takeoff checklist. If you need a Comanche checklist, look down in the comments. I'll have a download link for an easy to print one that you can print on 2 pieces of letter paper, fold each in half. You'll have a really convenient checklist. It also includes the Comanche performance chart. All right, so before takeoff, doors and windows are closed and latched. Our engine instruments are all in the green. Trim is set neutral for takeoff. Flaps, so for short and soft field, the book recommends in both cases we use 2/3 flaps, so down to flaps, which is about 18 degrees. And when you bring that mixture rich prop forward, carb heat's off, primer's locked, get the last of our landing lights and strobes on, fuel pump on, P-dot heat is not required. All right, we're going to, again, 2 schools of thought on the short field takeoff. A lot of legacy teaching is basically to hold the brakes, run the throttle up as high as you can, and let go. A lot of consensus that doesn't really necessarily buy you a whole lot of extra performance, and depending, if you're doing that on a clean surface, that's probably okay. If you're doing that on any sort of dirty surface, you're probably also increasing the risk of sucking things through the prop and adding extra wear and tear to your prop, as well as your brakes and everything else. Key thing is to line yourself up with as much runway as possible, and very smoothly but purposefully push that throttle to full. So we're going to go full throttle. We're not going to really add back pressure till at least about 70 miles an hour. As she comes off, we're going to accelerate in ground effect to our best angle speed, which is 84 miles an hour. Climb out As soon as we've got positive rate from that, we're gonna start climbing out. We're gonna raise the gear. As we accelerate above 90, we're gonna raise the flaps and climb the rest of the way out at 105, our best rate, to 1,000 feet. And we'll just sort of see how far that takes us. Once we're at 1,000 feet, we're going to turn into a downwind for runway 18 here at downtown and try a couple short field landings. All right, so we are all configured. We are cleared for takeoff. We'll go ahead and get ourselves down to the very end of this runway. Zoom out so you can see flaps and switches. Again, we could have got a little more to the end there. It's hard to judge in the sim sometimes. All right, so here we go. Be ready to get in on that right rudder. Yeah, we got full power and RPM. We got airspeed. There she is. Again, already climbed through that. Gears coming up. Of course, we're very light. It's fairly cool. Now the flaps coming up. Looking for that 105. Already through 600 feet. Just went through the center line of 3.6 and we're already at 1,000 feet. Comanche is an amazing performer. We're going to throttle back so again that we don't just go crazy on the speed here. Turn into the downwind for 18. In our next video, we're actually going to look at high density altitude, gross weight operations, and power on stalls. So we'll be moving away from our sort of sea level cheating. All right, we're established downwind for 18. So again, short field landing. We're just going to use gross weight numbers. So we're going to be looking at 82 across the fence, and we're going to see how that works out. We're going to call our target landing point literally the numbers. So there's adjacent our landing point. We're going to get that gear coming down. We do have mixture rich prop forward and fuel pump on. Gears down, flaps 1 coming out. Trim for 100. Looking back. That's about our 45. 30-degree bank. Turn base. Go to flaps 2. And trim for 90. Green, established base, Another thing again with Comanche and most Pipers, once we're on the ground, if we want to maximize braking, we need to actually raise the flaps or else we really risk getting the landing gear. Turning final, going to full flaps, verify 3 green, clear to land, clear for the option 1-8. And we're aiming for those numbers, so we're going to be going red on the VASI, or PAPI more technically. And lots of nose up trim as I do this, letting her decelerate. Again, we're looking for 82. Again, we're using power to sort of drag it in. Pull the power out. Flare. Flaps up. And maximum, basically elevator back, maximum braking. Alright, so let's go ahead and pop into the external view and zoom out. So we're aiming for the numbers way back here. See how many stripes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stripes. So touchdown zone, that should be basically 1,000 feet. So probably about 1,500 feet. You saw we floated all the way down to these stripes from those numbers. Alright, so let's come back around again. This time we're going to do our weight adjusted VREF of 74 and see if it's any different. So before takeoff, we do have again, we'll do just a normal takeoff this time, so it flaps up, mixture rich, prop forward, fuel pumps on, landing light strobes on, this trim back to neutral. Alright, so here we go. Slowly getting used to these new rudder pedals. Airspeed gear coming up. You can see even without the short field technique, she gets right off, especially light. One of these days I really want to go out and run numbers on actual takeoff time to climb differences with the different techniques, just to try and bookend what percentage change in actual performance do you get. My gut says it's not a lot in this airplane because it sits nicely on the thrust curve. Looking out over Mobile Bay, over to river there. Alright, we can turn our base. checklist. We're still mixture rich, prop forward, fuel pump on, standing by on the landing gear. A little speed up here. Let's bleed that off. Alright, same landing point. Gears coming down. Gears down in green. There's the white arc. Flaps 10, flaps 1, however we want to call it. Bring her to 100. Now again, in my other parts of the pattern, I'm not really going to change my ref speeds. The critical thing is have that speed set up on short final. It's fine to have a little bit of extra energy in the other parts of the pattern. So our 45, bring us onto base with flaps 2. And again, more nose up trim, coming to 90 miles an hour. Alright, turning final, full flaps, confirm gear down. Again, we're not going to slow right to 75 all the way out here, so again, we can sort of look at our 80. But as we get in closer, we're going to start working that speed back. Again, aiming for the numbers literally. And we're going to start feeling for that 75. Again, we're getting sort of what's called the backside of the power curve here, because we're getting more nose up attitude. We've got full flaps, so drag. So we're sort of letting the engine help us with that energy. And again, we're letting that speed roll back. There's the numbers. Throttle's closed. And touchdown well before. And stopped in about 1,000 feet total distance from the end of the runway. So there you have it. Short field and the importance of adjusting your landing speeds to your landing weight, particularly in airplanes that have a large useful load envelope. Alright, so on to soft field. So let's go ahead and queue up. Going to Roy Ray. See if this will work today. No. We want to go to 5R7 Ray. Yeah, I don't know why, but something is up with the GPS right now. We're going to cycle it here. Alright, got the GPS back. So we're going to go to 5R7, Roy Ray. 13 miles. 219, so let's set that up here. Alright, fuel pumps on, strip, carb heat, cold, trim. Set for takeoff. And we'll just climb up to a couple thousand feet and enjoy the view. Here we go. There's an airspeed, rotate, positive rate, gears coming up. Gears up amber. Feet, turn on course. Feet, fuel pump's coming up, pressure's holding. Out of 1 for 2. The main difference in soft field is if it's truly a soft field, you want to minimize pressure on the weight on the landing gear, minimize your risk of getting stuck. So everything's pretty much the same until we come into that flare. We're going to make as gentle as a touchdown as possible, and we're going to leave the flaps out, and we're going to let aerodynamic braking, full aft elevator, slow us as much as possible, using the brakes as minimum as possible. On a takeoff, same thing, full aft elevator. And really the more common issue with soft fields is not so much the runway. A lot of times that's what's got the best drainage. Some places the runway may actually be paved. It's the taxiways and the parking that they're issued. One place that's a particular concern is actually when you go to Oshkosh. So Oshkosh, of course, has very large runways, wide paved runways. But as soon as you slow down, they want you off those runways into the grass that is for most of the year just fields. And so particularly if they get heavy rain or multiple days of rain, the parking and camping and taxiway areas of Oshkosh can be real mud pits. So there again, it's not so much using soft field technique for the landing and takeoff, but you definitely, again, you want to keep that elevator back. You need to keep your speed up. You need to not slow down and risk getting stuck until you're in your parking spot. And then when you leave that parking spot, if it's wet, you want to be, you sort of want to wait till you start to roll, till you've got a clear shot to get up on the paved taxiways. So not all soft fields have an actual soft runway, but a lot of our home airport at Roscoe Field is mostly grass taxiways. So again, you might be fine to land, fine to get to fuel pumps, but between the runway and your hangar, which has a concrete pad in front of it, you need to watch for big puddles, and you may need to watch your power so you don't get slowed down and risk getting stuck. We're 6 miles out. It'll be curious. I haven't tried to go to this airport in flight sim before. I haven't landed here in real life yet, although we've done flown over and taken a good look at it. So this will be an interesting test here. here of finding the airport in the flight sim. And we definitely should go ahead and start coming down to pattern altitude. I'm guessing it's this thing right off the nose, the red building. Microsoft makes these a little too easy to see. It's like a road on the north, trees on the south. Trying to give us an angle so we can actually get sort of a good look down the runway, and we're going to go to the basically the non-traffic side. So that's not really it either. Also common with these little grass places of spotting what's not the airport. Or maybe that is the airport because it's got a windsock. Okay. So yeah, just to the left above the GPS. It's a couple hangars. Or that's at someone else's airport. So here we go. That must be that private strip. So, even airline pilots have landed at the wrong place. I was looking at a little private airport that's pretty much the same length as Roy Ray. Now, here we've got Roy Ray. We're going to go out here on the non-traffic side of 18. Set ourselves up to come back across on an overhead to left downwind. Give ourselves a good look at the airport. Yep, still has, again, that other airport also has that road on the north side, trees on the south. So we're going to be coming in over trees. Or we're landing south, actually, so we've got the good one today. We're going to be, got a little more room to work with. A2A Comanche is very slick in clean drag. All the speed mods actually worked, like they don't necessarily work in real life. Cruise performance is very accurate, but it's a little slippery. Powered backs just lower the manifold pressure settings a little bit. Alright, so again, we're going to aim ourselves for an overhead midfield. Like most things here along the coast, everything's more or less at 20 or 30 feet above sea level. Alright, here we are over airport. There's our threshold. Do have to worry, that's a typical setup for power lines. If they're not buried. Yeah, it's something you really try to confirm by asking people who've been to the airport before what the situation is. Alright, we're midfield downwind. We've got mixture rich, prop still forward. Fuel pump is now coming on. Alright. Yeah, get that gear down. Verify gear is green. Wide arc, flaps 1. Looking for 100. And find right around 11 inches seems to be doing it with a single pilot load here in the sim. Alright, turn our base, go to flaps 2. Trim for 90. Roll out on our base, take a look. Alright, right on into the final. Flaps full, confirm gear down on final. Again, we already showed the importance of our weight adjusted, so again, as we come over the fence, we're looking for 75. little steeper approach angle. Again, I'm going to assume there's power lines that I don't see right on that road. Very, very common. Looking good on the speed. Alright, looking good on the glide. We can bring that power out. And as we bring that power out, we've got to also lower the nose to hold that speed. Come in, hold it off. Right, you see in the stall warning. Full aft, got full flap still in. All the way back on the elevator, not even hitting the brakes. And this softer field, helping slow everything down. So if we were going to configure for immediate takeoff, we're raising the flaps 1. And we're not going to let her stop. Again, we're keep rolling. Get where I can see this trim, run our trim back to neutral. Again, technique here is we're actually going to start with full elevator. As it comes into ground effect, we've got to reduce back pressure right away to not fly out of ground effect till we can accelerate to flying speed. Once we sort of get back to normal flying speed around 85, we will climb out of ground effect, raise the landing gear, and then the flaps. Yeah, alright, so here again, goal is don't stop, cleared the checklists, full aft on the stick. Yeah, and the ground effect. Now, pull her into the climb, bring the gear up. So, a little bit unrealistic just in that the Sim Comanche here really flew off well before the real one would with full aft elevator. Of course, the lack of any force feedback really also just sort of makes doing it a little trickier. You would definitely just feel from stick force in the airplane how best to do it. Climb up to 1,500 feet. We're just going to end this flight back at Dauphin Island. So get the fuel pump off. Confirm we do have flaps up. Gear is definitely up based on our climb performance. And we'll land, let's see, so normally we land 1, 2 at Dolphin, so we'll try something different today. Runways, yep, so we're set up for left traffic 30 today, and just land the other direction. And we're going to again line ourselves up to cross midfield to the left downwind for 30. Calm winds, another consideration of why you would do 1-2 versus 3-0 right now. This is we got morning sunrise. If you have a choice, you'd rather land away from the sun and not into the sun. So, given current conditions, if light, I would definitely opt for the landing the other way rather than landing sort of right into the sun. There's a virtual lighthouse bakery. We could get out of the plane, walk into town, have ourselves some good coffee. Alright, we're going to turn overhead the airport, start getting this speed out of warp drive. Mixture rich, prop forward, fuel pump on, standing by on the gear. Get yourselves turned into the downwind here. Right over Pirates Grill on Pelican Bay, Pelican Peninsula. Alright, gears coming down. Flaps 1 coming down. Starter base. Flaps 2 coming down. Starter final. Full flaps. Confirm 3 green on final. And weight adjusted, even if we're not trying to do a short field, definitely we'll get better landing performance. Looking at closer to 75 instead of 82. Clear obstacles, bring that power out. Ease the speed on back. Bring those flaps up. And welcome back to Dauphin Island. There you have it, some short and soft field examples. Use cases, that short soft field takeoff, a little rough. Again, sort of challenging in the sim. Strike that balance between elevator pressure and not something I can practice in sim, it's a lot more natural in real life. Got a couple short field Comanche videos off of grass in the YouTube archives at Plain Places. Hopefully we'll have a chance to shoot a few more, including going into Roy Ray sometime here this spring. Hopefully make a trip over that way. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want here on our sim channel, and if you want like real life flying videos and the Piper Comanche, be sure to check out at Plain Places, our sister channel, where we fly our 1959 vintage Comanche all over the U.S. Southeast and points beyond. Ramp workers aren't paying too much attention. All right, with that, again, thank you all for joining, and hope you have a good rest of your day.